Hi guys, welcome to our second lecture for week 2. Today we are doing demos and we're going to go through the assessment instructions. We talked about the assignment a little bit yesterday. We're going to do the demo for the assignment. We're going to do the demo for the assessment. We will do those things first. And then we're going to play with the animate. I'm going to show you guys how to mask so you can make things look like it's going through a door, water's pouring it into a cup, things like that. So we're going to go over masking today, and there may be a few more things. If I think about it when I'm doing masking, sometimes it jogs something and I think, oh, they need to know this. We'll go over that too. So today, the week 2 assessment, we are going to really look at those directions and make sure you get it off. We're going to go over working with the bone tool and the demo for the assessment. And we're going to do the assignment demo. Don't forget, Christy is our learning coach. Her schedule is in the announcements. So if you need to meet with her, you can email her if you want a one-on-one and see what her schedule is like. And you can come and see me. I will be in the Student Success Center on Thursday from 8 to 11 p.m. Mountain Time, and on Friday from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Time.
Good morning, Misty.
Good morning. Week 2 assessment. You have 2 options this week. Option A, using your existing working animation from week 1's assessment. You can use the animation you used last week, and then you have to add to it. The list that I'm fixing to go over is not step by step or a how-to. It's just going to make sure you cover everything that you need to use. In order to be able to use the bone tool correctly for your character to animate with realistic movement, you'll need to watch lynda.com videos in the live session. You're going to open your animation from week 1's assessment and do a save as to the name as per the instructions below. You're going to add an object to your background for the character to interact with, or use your creature for the character to interact with. You're going to draw a humanoid type character that has jointed parts that can allow it to walk, wave, or other human-like movements. This step can be done in Illustrator or right in Animate, your choice. You're going to import or make your character a symbol and animate it using the bone tool. The character's legs must do at least one of the following movements: walk, crawl, jump, kick. The character's arms or hands must do one of the following movements: wave, push off, or something like that. Do not use the skeleton from the tutorial for your character. Doing so will cause you to receive no points for this assessment. You have to make your own character. Option B, create a new animation from scratch. Create a new HTML5 Canvas document. Make it 500 by 350 pixels. Set the frame rate to 24 FPS. Remember, that's the default setting in Animate, so most likely, unless you've changed it, it will be 24 frames per second. Make the animation 10 to 15 seconds long, and it should only play once. Draw a fun background or environment for the character to interact with. Then you're going to draw your humanoid character. It needs to walk, wave, or other human type movements. You're going to import or make your character a symbol and animate it using the bone tool. The character's legs, again, walk, crawl, jump, kick, or the character's arms or hands must do at least one of the following movements: wave, push off of something, anything like that. Tara, talk to me at the end of the lecture about that. Assessment submission instructions. Create a folder named DS246 Assessment 2. Save all files you create from the tutorials in this folder. When finished, zip the entire folder and make sure it is named like the above. DS246, assessment 2, your first and last name, and submit it for grading. Okay, now let's talk about the bone tool. I will be very, very honest with you guys. If I am doing a character animation, I do not use Animate. Why? Because the bone tool in Animate is really rudimentary. It is not the easiest to get human-like movement with that bone tool. It's way more exaggerated than I normally like. It doesn't do exactly what you want it to do. It will distort the pieces, that sort of thing. So anybody that's watching the lecture will know that you guys can use the bone tool on anything. When I use the bone tool in Animate, I use it on more stationary type objects. For instance, if we open up my file from last week, let's see here. I think I put it on my desktop. I'm going to open up my assessment from last week. I am going to use the bone tool. I've done quite a few animations where they've been for builders, concrete companies, things like that, where it's had a tractor that needed to pick up dirt or things like that. I've used the bone tool on that because it is hard to get the bone tool to work on characters. We will go over that, but I want to show you guys what you can do. In my case, my animation from last week has a mailbox. I'm going to lock my butterfly layer and unlock. The flowers can stay locked. My flap needs to be unlocked. And my inside box needs to be unlocked. Main box will be okay. So I have my flap. And I have the inside of my box. They're on two different layers at the moment. I'm going to change that around for a second so I can use the bone tool on them. I'm going to actually put that on the flap layer. Turn it into an object. Turn my mailbox into an object. Okay, so I have my two pieces. I'm going to select them both. I can get rid of that layer now. It's empty. Everything else is locked. So my pieces are selected. You can come over here and grab your bone tool. That little symbol that looks like a bone. And I need to connect my two pieces. So I want to draw my bone tool here and out to here. Come on, take them both. It put them on separate layers. Let's undo it. Didn't pick up both my pieces. Sometimes it's easier if you leave them as bitmaps so that they're individual. So I'm going to expand them like this. Grab my bone tool. There's my first bone. And it needs to connect to my second bone. like that. So if I grab my black arrow, I can manipulate this. See what's happening here? Now I've got a bit of an issue. I didn't get my bone quite far enough down. So I need to move it. So it's more like that. You can use your wide arrow to adjust that when you don't get the flap right. You see what happens here? So you have to set your adjustments. You can pin things so that they stay in place. And you can make it so that, let's click back on that circle, so that I don't move left to right, horizontally. Does anyone remember what the X and Y are? Which one of those translates to horizontal? Do you guys know? The X. So I can constrain it to say, I don't want you to move at all. And 0. Except for I think I'm on the wrong bone. Let's undo that. I need to make sure you got the right bone selected. There we go. Constrain. 0 and 0. So that when I pick this up, it won't move, but it's still moving. This bone, I don't want constrained. I just want it to move. We're getting there. See how that moves around? I want to not enable it. But the top one is enabled, isn't it? Yes. It's because this is not 3D. Is what's happening. So I end up with, I would have to do a full rotation. Let's see if I can make it rotate enough to get it closed. Nope. Let's see if it will allow me to bind it. To bind it here and here. Now let's see if it'll let me close it. But it won't take my lid with me. Go back up there. There we go. Let's go back and grab my bind tool. This bind tool will allow you to kind of stick stuff, so to speak. There. To bind that. Do not want to bind that. I want to bind this one. But now I've lost my mailbox, so let's go edit undo until I can move my mailbox again. Oh, Anima's thinking. Whoops. It really does not like this file, guys. There it is. There's my flat back. So now let's grab my bind tool again. Bind. Bind there. Bind. Side. And now it'll let me move that flap a little better. It's still not perfect. This is what I mean about the bone tool. It is very rudimentary. And it will distort your shape if you let it. That'll be enough that I can get my point across in my animation though. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so back to my original position. So I have my bone tool, I have my bone set. I'm gonna grab that playhead. I'm gonna bring my butterfly around until it stops on my mailbox here. And I'm gonna click in that armature layer. Let's see where it needs to move. Here is good. I'm gonna right click. Insert a pose. I want it to stay right there. I don't want it to start moving until it gets to this frame. And then it takes off. So right here, I'm going to put my playhead right there, click in that frame, and grab this bone. And I want to bring it up just a little so it looks like it's throwing that butterfly off. So let's watch what happens. And it scares the butterfly off. Now I could even take this and make it a little more drastic by pulling that keyframe down here. Whoops. Not my entire box, please. Pull that back down just a little bit. Put it back into the normal position. Like that. Rewind, play. And it throws the butterfly off, makes them zoom. You get the idea? Bone tool is easiest to use on things like this versus characters, but we are going to go over the character. I'm going to start with an HTML5. And guys, your character can be a stick figure, little independent pieces, that sort of thing. It just needs to be human-like. Or you can use a robot, anything like that. Head. And it's easiest if you draw your body in shapes and joints, so to speak. Those of you that have already done the tutorial for the skeleton, that's how he's done. He's done in joints. Versus trying to make solid lines for an entire arm, especially if you want it to wave or jump or something like that. And I'm just going to cut and paste these pieces on here. And give him some legs.
Misty,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't it be better to put it in portrait instead of landscape because of the length of the body?
You could, but I'm not going to make his legs move. I'm just going to make his hands move. So I just want his feet pointed down there.
I mean, when I do mine, is it all right if I put mine in portrait?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so you have all your body pieces. Once you have all your body pieces, now you need to link your characters together, right? You need to make him work. Grab that bone tool. And I need his arms to link because that's what I'm going to make move at this moment, his arms. So you have to think skeleton wise. So you have to make everything move the way it's supposed to move. So if it's just doing his arms, you really wouldn't have to do an entire skeleton. Oops. You need to make sure your pieces that you need to put the bone tool on are in the front. Oh, I didn't make this piece a drawing object. Let's redo that. There we go. So I'm going to select him, select all those pieces, go to arrange, bring to front, and make sure they're on top of it. And then I can grab my bone tool and I can connect these pieces. It's still bringing me back to that. Did I not click on that? Let's move that piece out of the way. My bone tool wants to grab it. Bone tool. I need an arm here. And then I need an arm here and an arm here for the hand. Come on. And I need to edit this. You can see my bone is off there. White arrow, and I can change this so that it bends where it's supposed to bend. Get all my pieces. Nope. Piece one, bone tool. Piece two, there we go. Did you take it? Yes. Okay, there's one. His arm moves. Now I need to connect that to the hand. Back over to my bone tool. You may have a little bit of difficulty, guys, getting these bone tools pinned together, especially when you're using symbols, shapes versus objects. If you have trouble, you can try to convert it to a symbol and then putting the bone tool on it. Let's undo my bone tool for a second. Sometimes that makes it easier. It really depends on your object. So I can do convert to symbol. One. Symbol two. Convert to symbol three. Select them off. Grab that bone tool. Okay. There's one. Two. That's one too many. Let's do that again. One, two, right here. Two. Come on. Not far enough. Let's zoom in here so we can all see that a little better. Okay, here's my first bone tool. I want to connect to this symbol right there. And then I want this symbol to connect to that symbol. Looks like we're good. But this symbol I want to send to the back. Range, send to back. Won't let me. Okay, so now when I move my hand, that's better, except for I need to take this joint and I need to pull it down some. Come on. Down, down, down. I had to use my arrow keys. It wouldn't let me drag at that time, so I'm just going to move it with my arrow keys so that my arm is in a better position. And then put my shoulders and stuff back over here. So now I have a bone tool that will allow me to move that arm around. Now, I can very much do binding on it if I want to, so that it doesn't get too far away from that shoulder. Let's set the constraints to that. Enable, constrain. Let's do 45, 45. Lets me go a little higher than I really want to. See what's happening there? Woo, I can move that arm and it becomes a ghost arm. So you have to be careful with your constraints and kind of play with them. Let's go 5, -5, and 5. still getting way more than I want. So I'm just going to turn it off because I want to make sure that they're bound together. That's better. And I could work on my body. Obviously, I need to make it match up here. I'm just going to pull that up so it doesn't look so funny when I move that arm. But now I can move the arm. And I can make him do all kinds of stuff. So then you have to have frames. This is kind of like a motion tween, guys. So I'm going to go out. We have to have 240 frames. He has to do quite a few things. And I'm going to insert frame. And then I'm going to work with his movement. So I'm going to go out to frame 24. And this is where I want him to put his hand on his hip. And then frame 48. I want him to twist that arm up. Other way. There we go. Up, because now he's going to wave. So I'm going to go out a few more. The arm, bring it out. Bring it back in so he waves. And repeat that. And then he's going to put his arm back on his hip again. So now if I rewind, so I've got a bit of a problem here. He's taking way too long to get his hand onto his hip. So I'm going to go back here and speed that up so his hand sits there for a second. And I can animate his other arm, turn it into a symbol, convert to symbol. If you do it in pieces, so your character's jointed, turning it to a symbol is going to be your easiest way to get it to take the bone tool. And then bone tool. Connect here, connect here, and go out and move his arm so that this one goes onto his hip. So I need to pause here and fix his body. There we go. Now this arm probably really isn't going to do much. Every so often I may make him bring that arm out like this. Bring it back to his hip. And I'm going to insert pose because I want to make sure he stays right there. And that arm doesn't move at all until we get here again. And then I might make him drop his arm down and be more of a relaxed position. Like that. So if we rewind, need pom-poms, yes, it'd be absolutely acceptable to make a cheerleader type character, guys. Put pom-poms in their head, you know, they shake them. Use the same idea with feet. So if I had legs, convert my body to a symbol. My leg to a symbol. My lower leg to a symbol.
Increase sales.
3 new accounts worth over $500,000 a year.
and a steady 45% gross margin of profit.
Improve margins.
Implementing your top secret program, we finally made
Sorry,
enough
guys,
profit.
I accidentally hit the wrong button. And it deleted my leg. Okay, convert to symbol. Yes. And my foot, convert to symbol. Yes. Convert to symbol. Yes. Convert to symbol. And my other foot, convert to symbol. Okay, so now I need to connect these. Since I have an entire piece for my lower body, I'm going to have to select all of these. They're going to have to be one bone tool, essentially. I'm going to take this bone tool. I want to draw a small, see if it'll let me draw a bone tool across here. It won't. I'm going to have to go bone tool here and take another one off that same circle and connect it here, and then connect these two. And to the foot, knee to the foot, like that. So now he can do all kinds of stuff. You can make him move his legs. I'm gonna need to pin some stuff. This bone doesn't need to really move. So I want to uncheck rotation. These bones need to move, but I'm gonna have to constrain them. So I'm gonna do constrain, constrain. Let's see how much that's better. But this one, as you can see, I need to make sure I edit my bones again. So I'm going to click on the bone I need to move. No, not that one. This one. Come on, up, up, up. Let's redraw those bones. And when you run into this, you may have to redraw it. That wide arrow does not always work when you're wanting to move that bone tool, when you put it in the wrong location. And this is, let's try this again. Bone tool. First bone, I want to just barely touch. There we go. Barely touch the second one. Come on. There it is. Barely touch my shoe. There we go. That's better. Barely touch. And then barely touch. Let's see if that helped me. That's better. That works a lot better. So now I'm going to constrain these. I'm going to take off the joint rotation on both of those. And I want to constrain these. Let's see if they're constrained enough. I need to pick this leg up. No, that one needs to be pinned. I'm going to click on this little joint here and pin it. That's my foot. But it pinned this joint, didn't it? No, it didn't. But it pinned this entire joint. Let's edit and undo, and let's see if I can bind it versus pinning it. Unpin it, and then I'm going to grab my bone binding tool. I want to bind it here. And it's not going to let me bind it. Why not? Nothing's on there, nothing's on there. Here. Let's take all of this off for a second. One tool, bind tool. It won't let me bind it right there. Usually it will, as you saw earlier, it will let me bind to some things. Some things it will not, apparently. That's new. So that means we're going to have to use the constraint proportions. So you're going to have to play with your settings if you're getting too much space when you try to move your pieces. This one is not pinned. I want to rotate it, but I don't want it to be able to rotate too much. Let's go -5 and 5. Rotation, yes. -5, 5. Constraint, -5, 5. Strength. Okay, my leg kicks. Oh, I don't want you to move. I want enable. Maybe not the X. I mean, maybe not the Y. Let's see if it lets me go this way now, but I just want to rotate it. Enable, constrain, -10, and 10. There we go, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna take that off, Rotation, that can even come off. This needs to rotate though. Okay, so I'm going to make him stomp is basically what's going to happen here. I want him to stomp. So I'm going to go out here and we're going to make him stomp. So I'm going to raise his leg. Oops. I'm going to raise his leg up. Kick back here. And then in the next pose, I want to bring that leg all the way back down so that he stomps. And we're going to do the exact same over here. Enable rotation. Enable rotation. Okay. Out and then down. So if I rewind it, let's see how he dances. So we're not back in the right position. Here. Here. Let's re-straighten him out. Better. So now he kind of does a little dance here. stumps his feet, waves his hands, that kind of thing. And my belt and stuff is in the background. Really what I need to do is pull that layer up. This needs to be cut. And I need a new layer that needs to be on the bottom. Edit, paste in place. So you may have to rearrange your character a little bit until you get all the pieces where you want them. It's better. Edit, paste in place. There we go. And 10 seconds, guys, it really doesn't matter what you have your character doing. Wave, jump, sit, doesn't matter. And put a background behind them. Or you can use your bone tool on a stationary object like a tractor. Things like that to get it to do what you want it to do. And we'll kind of go over that now. But as you can see, just do something cute. It really doesn't matter what you do. I just want you guys to at least be familiar with that bone tool. If you want to do a human type person, go for it. Otherwise, you can do something like a tractor. Let's see. I have a bulldozer in here. Somewhere. That is perfect for using the bone tool on. I thought it was still in here, but apparently it's not. Oh, maybe it's in my farm. There's the drill. Okay, well, I guess my bulldozer is not on this computer. But it can be any type of character you want to draw. You can do something simple. And do a robot. Or even simpler, do a stick figure. It makes it easier. I'm not worried about what your character looks like. It just needs to be human type shaped. And it needs to do something human-like. Walk, wave its hand, stomp its feet, jump up and down, do a little dance. You know, that sort of thing. Have fun with it, guys. If you want to do a tractor, then absolutely. Do a tractor and use your bone tool to make it pick up dirt and then dump dirt out. That sort of thing. The bone tool just needs to be used to accomplish to have your character or whatever object you're using it on complete a task. Does that make sense? So if you want to skip doing the humanoid character, absolutely go for it. Put it on something else. Just make sure it completes some sort of task. Because getting it to work on characters is somewhat difficult sometimes, because as you saw, you can't constrain it exactly the way you need to always. And so things look a little more over exaggerated than you actually want them to. And so you have to go in and do a whole lot of editing to get things to really look right, so you don't have gaps and spaces between joints and things like that. So I don't want you guys stressing over that. If you do a humanoid character, don't worry about the gaps that happen when you rotate an arm and things like that. I'm not worried about those things. It's not going to affect your grade any. Now in your final animation, your mod-long project, then you're going to have to do a lot of editing to get things like that to work right. But for this assessment, I don't want you stressing over it. I just want you using the bone tool in some way. So I'm not worried about what your character looks like. That's what I'm worried that I'm going to be concerned with you using the bone tool to do something, not what it looks like while it's doing that. Does that make sense? So no stress, have fun with that bone tool. It will do some very interesting things, and you end up getting usually funny results, especially when you're using it on a character. So if you do a character, make it do a little jig and give it a background, and then you're good to go. So don't stress over it. So now let's talk about masking, because just about every single one of you are going to need that skill in your final animation. A lot of you have things going into other things, whether it's something going into a box, something being poured into something else, someone going through a door, there's all kinds of things. That's just a few examples. A lot of you are going to need to know how to mask. So we are going to go over masking. It's actually pretty simple, but it is something that takes a few steps. It's not like masking in Illustrator where you can right click and say clipping mask. So first I'm going to start with just a little brown box here. So we're going to use my drill. And so on this board. And here's my drill. Let's pull it out here. That. And so this is the drill. So I need to do a few things first, so that you really get the effect of this masking. We're going to double click on my drill. Yeah, we're good there. Let's make it a, whoops. I'm going to make it a symbol. Double click it. And I'm going to zoom into it because I need to do a few things. Modify. Oh, there we go. And break apart. There we go. I want all these little bitty lines selected. And I'm going to cut them. And I'm actually going to do a few masks in this one. I'm going to do my lines here. So edit, paste in place. This is going to be my masking shape. Actually, no, it's not. I'm going to have to produce that shape. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool here. And I need to, the way the mask works in Animate, guys, is you have to cover the area in which you want the object to appear, or you want to be able to see it. I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit. To bring it all the way down here, all the way down here. And it needs to be a solid color. I'm gonna make it black. And cut it. And I want to paste it on layer 3. Now I'm going to turn layer 3 off for a second. Add it, paste in place, and it's not pasted. Edit, paste in place. Oops. Okay, so now this is on. No, we're still not right. Command X. X, there we go. Lock that layer. It doesn't want to paste on my other layer. Paste in place. There we go, finally. No, it's still not there. Good. Paste in place. There we go. So now I have my mask in place. I'm going to turn it off so I can't see it. And I want to double click on this and grab all of these little lines. Because I want to make it look like the drill's turning. That's the idea here. Go back to my drill. Click on this layer, edit, paste in place. There we go. And I want to turn all of these into a symbol. Go to symbol. Now then, I need to go out to frame 24. Insert frame. And then I am going to put a motion tween here, but first I want to adjust it. Back here, like this. Create motion tween. Bzzz. Probably should have taken this, in reality, taken this, putting it here in frame 12. There we go. And then, because then I want it to start all over again. I'm going to actually make 2 of these. I'm going to get rid of these. Remove frames. I'm going to make a new layer. I want this to last a little longer. Remove frames. I'm going to copy these frames. Right click, copy frames. Paste frames. So let go. That might work. So now I am going to turn that black line back on. Click on that layer, right click, and choose mask. So here's what happens. Now my mask looks a little too long there. Like it's not masking the end the way it should be. It's not masking the top either. So what, oh, we masked the wrong layer. Whoops, I had a blank layer there. Sorry about that. Let's get rid of this layer. Trash. Now then, mask. There we go. So now my drill will look like it moves. All it is an optical illusion. That's all it is. So I'm going to go back to scene 1, fit a hardboard. And now I'm going to go out. I'm going to need to make some more frames here. I have my drill. And I need to create a motion tween. I'm going to go out to frame 35. And the first thing I want to do is rotate my drill like that. And then I'm going to go out a few frames, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So we're running there. And the drill is going to move down like this. A little too far, I think, right there. And then a few frames, and I'm going to bring it back up. And then here, go over, and back down again. So now I need to mask that because we shouldn't be able to see that going through the wood, right? We shouldn't see that. It shouldn't be there. So I'm going to make a new layer. Grab my square tool, do a solid color, and I want to be able to see everything above that brown box. Once again, right click, mask. So now we play it. I need to make a little adjustment there. It's not coming up quite high enough. Now, if you have to make adjustments, here's the thing, it locks your layers. When you unlock them, you're going to see they will automatically pop up that black box. So you have to turn the eye off on that layer in order to make adjustments. I actually want to move this back up a little bit. That, and then down. And then once you relock it, it will turn that mask back on. Masking is really pretty simple. You just have to remember the area in which you want the drill, whatever object you're using, seen. Yeah, that's where your colored box has to be. unlock everything, turn that mask back on. Now, we need to test it with my lines. So I export it. Now it looks like that little drill bit is actually turning so that we can actually do some drilling. Probably your most complicated task this whole mod will be trying to figure out how to make something look like it's doing something. Just remember, guys, it's optical illusion. You're going to have to stop and sit back and say, okay, what is it that lets my brain know that that's happening? Like a drill bit. What is it that we recognize? Do we actually recognize that that drill bit's going in a circle and it's turning? That's not what we're really visually seeing that lets us know it's turning, is it? It's the little grooves in the drill bit that we see move because they change, and it's like a downward pattern. That's what we visually recognize, and therefore our brain knows that drill bit's turning. Makes sense? Because the reality is animation is nothing more than illusion. It's the illusion of something doing something else. Just like water pouring. Let's go back to my timeline here. And let's do some water. Okay, so we have a general shape. I'm going to start with, let's turn it off. I'm going to pretend that's water. And I'm going to grab and I'm going to have to edit this path. I'm going to need a few more anchor points here so I can get a shape that I really want. And grab my white arrow. Here. And I'm going to cut it, make a new layer, edit, place in place. mask. My board is missing now. Whoops. Let's take care of that too. There. Mask. So there's our water. But the problem is that it doesn't look like it's pouring, does it? But what if I take off this mask for a second? This is where planning comes in. And I'm going to say create motion swing. Go back to frame 1. And I'm going to zoom out here. In frame 1, I want the mask to start up here. Like that. And then when it gets to the end, I want it to kind of follow that sort of path. So now I turn it into a mask. And look what happens. So you can actually animate your mask, or you can animate the mask, the object that's being masked. Does that make sense? You can do it to, you can add an animation to the actual mask itself, so you get a pouring type effect. Or you can animate the object that's being masked so that it does something like the drill. It just depends on your effect and what you need to do to create the illusion that that certain thing is happening. So you can make things look like they grow, like vines and leaves and things like that, by animating the mask itself. Any questions on masking? All kinds of stuff you can do for that masking tool, with that masking tool. Okay, guys, let's talk about the assignment. How many of you are stressing over the assignment? It's not that hard, I promise. What you're going to do is create all your final graphics. You do that in Illustrator, whatever program you're using to create your final graphics. Get them all together, make the final graphics. I simply have all of mine on one artboard. Now you need to put them into Illustrator. You can do that several different ways. You can do import, like you learned in the tutorial last week, and import them into Animate. You can put them in your Creative Cloud library, so you can just pull them out into Animate, or you can copy and paste them. Now that's type. I'm going, since this is a special type for that logo, I'm actually going to create outline so that it's not text anymore. Edit and copy it. And you can go right into Animate and go to Edit and go to Paste. And it'll pull up your little paste box. If you want it on a certain layer, make sure you uncheck maintain layers, but paste using AI, Illustrator, file importer preferences. And then just hit OK. And there it is. Now, after you've pasted each piece, you need to decide whether it needs to be, if it's going to be one, if it's going to be animated, is it going to be on, is the whole thing one symbol, or do you need it to be in pieces so that you have several different symbols, or do you need that several times? In my case, I need several different symbols of this one logo. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it again. And let's see, I need one. And then 1, 2, 3, that, and then a solid. So I know that I need these little pieces to be a symbol because they're going to do something at the very beginning and they're going to be all by themselves. So I'm going to convert it to a symbol and give it a name so I remember what it is. And then I need my letters to be individual symbols because actually just the words, no, I need the letters to be individual symbols. As you see, when I select them, they're grouped together. I'm just going to go to modify, break apart, and then click on each one and convert it to a symbol. And you can't have duplicate symbol names. So if you're having to name something the same thing, give it a number after the name so that you remember that's the second one. And then I need ideas to be its own symbol. And the rest of this, I don't actually need the LLC, and I don't need the printing and vinyl graphics. So I'm going to just delete that off here. And then on this one, I don't actually need this anymore. This needs to be a solid logo, though. I'm going to have to copy and paste this one more time. I need 3 of them. And on the second one, I can get rid of the splashes because I'm going to be using the ones from the first set. But I do need this to be one symbol now. And I don't need ideas because it's already its own symbol. And then I need the last one to simply be a graphic. So I'm going to convert to symbol, and I'm going to make it a graphic and just hit OK. So that's done. So I can take these because they're now all in my library. All in my right there. I'm going to delete them off my artboard. And then bring in my next set. I need an image. It's already in my Creative Cloud, so I'm going to use it, but I'm going to change the size of it. That works, and then I'm going to convert it, just like I did everything else. Convert to symbol, this needs to be a graphic. double check, make sure it's in there in my library the way it's supposed to be, and then delete it. And then I need this background. Convert to symbol. I'm just going to call this dots. It's in there. I can delete it. Then I have one more. Import. Convert to symbol. Make it a graphic and delete it. Now, the only thing I have left that I need to do is you should actually only have one frame when you guys start. Let me get rid of these. Your file's going to look like this. So the next thing you do is go out to the last frame you're going to have in your animation. So you have to figure out how long it's going to be. In this case, this is just a simple, essentially an animated infographic type thing to advertise what Splash Ideas does. So I'm going to make it probably around 300 frames, which is about 12.5 seconds. Now, I may give or take a few frames. So you can always add frames to it, but I want you to give me a starting point on where you think how long you think your animation is going to be. Remember, it has to be at least 10 seconds. But most of you took my advice last week and started figuring out how long each scene was going to last. And so you have a pretty good idea of how long your animation is going to be. So go ahead and set the timeline to indicate to me how long that animation is going to be, because this week is when you have to start really deciding that. That does not mean it's written in stone. So come next week, when you start animating, there will be room for you to adjust that, whether it's to make it a little shorter than you thought it was going to be. In most cases, you're going to need to make it a little longer because you're going to have something that you thought you had enough frames in, but when you watch it, that certain piece is moving too fast. And so you have to add frames to it, which means it makes your entire animation longer. But on your original, on that layer 1, just simply tell me how long you expect it to be. It's not written in stone. You can always change it next week. But that's your assignment, guys. What I want you to concentrate on mostly is finishing those final graphics. And then you're just moving them into Animate, making the ones that need to be movie clips, making the other stuff graphics so that it puts it in your library. It makes it easier next week when you're animating and you turn it in for me to download it and actually see the graphics you use. One other thing I wanted to go over, because I noticed this on some of the assessments last week. If you guys are using fonts you downloaded from third parties, special fonts, most likely I do not have that font. And I either have to go in and download it so that I can actually see what you did, or I have to use a default font, which of course does not make your animation look as great as it did originally. The way around that is, if you use an external font, one that's not standard or one that you didn't get from Typekit, then you're going to click on that text box. Go up to Modify. You're going to go to Break Apart. And then you're going to go to modify, and you're going to break apart again until you get your text down to that level where it's dotted and it's no longer actual text. It becomes a bitmap. This will allow me to actually be able to see it so that I can see the typography and everything else you applied to it. So if it's a special font that came from somewhere other than Typekit or was included in your font library, it's a standard font, then you need to make sure you break it apart until you get to the bitmap level. It has those little dots when you select it so that I can actually see it, because typography plays an important part in animated advertising. So if you're using a special font, make sure you just break it apart a few times until you get it to this level to make sure I can view it. Otherwise, I have to try and go in and find that font so I can download it and see everything. That takes a while. Any questions?
Not about today, but definitely about last week.
Yes. Okay, guys, so that is it as far as demos and stuff. Those of you that want to stick around and do some more practicing and playing like we did yesterday, or anyone that needs help, then stick around and we will take care of that. Otherwise, guys, I will see you next week if I don't see you in the Student Success Center on Thursday or Friday. You're welcome.
Misty,
Yes.
so how would I do mine way that I've got mine with like the couch and the person on it, and then the lettering, and then going off into the island of El Del Mar, Cafe Del Mar? How would I make those into animated products?
You're talking about making the person sit down on the couch?
Yeah, like sitting down on the couch, or
What
that, and then getting an idea to.
I would suggest is you do a frame by frame type animation. Let me go through here and put a few frames. Yeah. So you have your, let me grab my paintbrush. It'll be the easiest, I think. So you have your person. He's got a head. And he's got legs. And oops, he needs to sit down, right? Oh, that's a little too high. He needs to sit down. So there's his first pose. I grab my black arrow. I'm going to select him and actually put him on another layer for the moment. Oh, keyframe here and paste him. Oops.
So it would be like a 6-layer post for the animation?
Essentially. So I need to go here and copy this. He's going to sit on that. Copy.
Because I had that and got, like, he got an idea in his head, and then to go to Cafe Del Mar, and then from there leaving the city, and then going on an airplane to the Mediterranean, because that's where Cafe Del Mar is in the Mediterranean.
Okay, so there's that. He's moved a little. He's going to start to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
See where I'm going with this? I'm going to make a keyframe here, delete that one off. And copy this one, paste it here. Oops. Edit, this in place. Copy.
Because I think the 6 were that he was like on a couch, got the idea, and then from there got in his car, leaving the city, and then from there getting on an airplane and then going out to El Dimano.
Right. Okay, so now we've gotten 2 poses down. So I'll just grab him. He needs to. Okay, here. And now he's kind of sitting down. Here, like turn this off. Go backwards, see how this works. And it looks like he was animated, right? Because we just went from pose to pose. Just his different movements. That's called frame by frame animation.
So do I move it in that order, just like you got it there?
Well, there could technically be a few more poses in that to make it a little more smoother, but that kind of gives you the idea. Basically, you draw him in the first position, and then you draw him moved a little bit because he needs to accomplish from point A to point B, from standing to sitting.
Right.
So you kind of have to think about, okay, what does he need to do? Well, usually when you're standing, you're fixing to sit down, you lean over a little bit, right?
Right.
And you bend your knees, that sort of thing. And then you lower yourself down and you sit back up straighter. So you're sitting on the couch. In your case, it's a couch, so you might actually draw him sitting and then do a pose or two for him to lean back against the back of the. You get the idea where I'm going with that? So basically, you're just going to do pose by pose.
So do I do the illustration first and then do the frame movement after that?
Right. I would do your final graphic. So create your person, and then you're going to copy that and paste it and do your poses. You definitely want to concentrate on your poses this week.
Okay.
And go ahead and get those worked out, especially anything where you have to do frame by frame.
Okay. So how do I take it and copy and paste it?
You can do it in Illustrator.
Another.
You created your character. So you just copy and paste a copy of them and then manipulate those pieces so it looks like he's changed position.
So then I do it in Illustrator and then from there copy and paste it from one position to another?
Yes.
Okay, so I start off at 1 and then do the illustration and then drop it in, copy and paste it over onto animate, and then move the arrow to what was it, 20?
Okay, are you making your character in animate or are you making it in Illustrator?
Well, which one do you think is easier?
Well, you're familiar with Illustrator, right?
Yeah, I know that for making objects, but could I do the same thing in the using the same tools there for the line tool and using like you did over here without copy and pasting it?
Yes, absolutely. If you want to do it that way, go for it. If you want to make it animate, make it inanimate. More, absolutely. More practice you get in animate, the better off you'll be. So make your character in animate. Yeah, you can manipulate the shapes like I did until you get your person. And then you're just going to paste him in that group of frames that you need him in. Or in your case, since it's this week and you're doing your final graphics, what you would do is copy him. Let's make a whole new layer. You would take him, copy him, you would have your first one, and then you're going to paste him or redraw him, whichever way is easiest for you. And then either redraw him, manipulate him, however you want to do it, and then paste him again. until you get all of your poses so he completes that action, and then go back and select the first one, and then convert to symbol and do character 1 pose. So you know that's the first pose.
Okay.
And then the next one, character 2 pose, character 3 pose, and however many poses you need, and make it a graphic. That way it saves it in your library. And so when it comes time to animate next week, you can just drag those poses out into the frames where they go, and you have a frame by frame animation right there.
Okay, so how far do I move per frame on the timeline? Do I go 1 through 10 and then, or 1 through 20 for starters, and then 20, 40 on up as it's moving in emotion?
Right, and you'll take care of that in week 3. This week you only have 1 layer with a total number of frames on it for your animation.
Okay, so I just go 1 to 20 on each one then?
Well, your entire animation is going to be what, about 30 seconds long?
Probably, I guess, because it's six deals.
Right, so your animation is going to be about 30 seconds long. So that means you need 24 times 30, 750 frames. So you're going to go out to frame 720 and do insert frame. You don't have to worry about making individual frames for your poses this week, because once you've turned it into a graphic and you've hit OK, once you've turned it into a symbol, you're going to delete it off your artboard. When you turn your file into me, your artboard is going to be empty, because all of your pieces are going to be in your library. And that's what I'm going to open and look at.
Okay, so I just do the character, or do I, after do that, do the a car illustration, like a line drawing of a car, and
Yeah.
then a city, and then a plane flying, and then to like an island?
Correct. You're going to do the final graphics for your entire animation, plus any poses that you need for frame by frame animation. Like your car driving, you don't have to do frame by frame, because you can make the car drive using a motion tween. But if you're going to show somebody from standing to sitting, you're going to want to do that with frame by frame animation by drawing poses.
Okay. So can I work it off of the one that you're off of your video to get the idea?
Right, yes.
Okay, so where do I start at for the beginning? Doing the character first?
Yes.
Okay, after I do the character, then I go up to modify, and then put in for the symbol area.
Right. Convert to symbol.
Convert to symbol. And then from that one, I put over here to library.
Right. When you convert it to symbol, it's automatically going to put it into your library.
Okay, and then for the motion, that's when I go back and take it from 1 to 20, and then start another character, and then do it, and then put it into convert to symbol, and so they're like in motion.
Right. I wouldn't convert anything to a symbol until after you've done all the poses. And then go back and convert each pose into a symbol. Because once you've turned it into a symbol, you can't copy and paste it and then manipulate it, because it's a symbol already. So make your character and then make all the poses for that character, and then go back and select the first pose and convert it to a symbol. And then select the second pose and convert it to a symbol, and delete them off your artboard as you go. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay, then do I, after I do that, then I go back and it'd be already on the timeline then?
Well, they don't have to be on the timeline. They're just going to be in your library. Your timeline is empty. There shouldn't be anything on your artboard when you turn it in.
Okay, so everything would be all in the library. For how many positions of motion should I use for each one?
From sitting to standing, you need at least 3. I would suggest probably more like 5, but you need at least 3 to make it look like he stands or sits. And you can see from mine, and that's pretty rough. There's kind of some gaps in his movement there. But it's enough that I know and you know what was happening, standing, sitting.
Right.
So you need at least a minimum of 3. In reality, this could probably use 2 more. And for those of you that are wondering, you can Google poses.
What I give for the idea for like he's put like a question mark above his head, and then from there on the other frame and do that and put like Cafe Del Mar and
Right.
put like quotations around it to give it like a memory thing.
There are
And then
images
from there,
as you can see here, there's images of the walking cycle that shows you the different poses you're going to need. A simple walking cycle has 1, 2, 3, 4.
uh-huh.
And you can do the same thing for a sitting.
Okay.
It will show you the sitting cycles.
So for each character, after I do the character, that's when I convert to symbol, right?
Yes.
So each one of each motion will all go in. And so I put like a movement 1, movement 2, movement 3, movement 4, movement 5.
Yes.
And then after I do that, then put like a little thing above it and put Cafe Del Mar. And then after I do that, do exactly the same thing as I did with the walking position.
Right. Just, well, that's just text, right?
Uh-huh.
So you can just type the text out and then you're just going to convert it to a symbol. If it's going to need movement or something on there, make sure you make it a motion tween. If you're going to have it float into the screen or something like that, make sure you make it a motion tween and not a graphic.
Okay, now where do I go for the motion swing at?
The same place. When you convert something to a symbol,
So I still go to modify. Is that where that's at too?
convert to symbol, the little box pops up. And under type, you can either make a movie clip, a button, or a graphic.
Right.
Anything you plan on adding a motion tween to, anything that's going to slide into the screen or fade off or go up and down, any kind of movement like that, you want to make sure it's a movie clip. Anything that's frame by frame type stuff or isn't going to have any movement at all, you make it a graphic.
Okay. So how about when I do like the car, put one car illustration down and then put another car illustration down so it looks like one is in motion with the other?
Yeah, your car is going to look like it's driving, so you're going to make it a motion tween. And you only need one of them because in Animate, you can actually make that car move from one side of the screen to the other.
Okay. And then how about with the airplane? Do exactly the same thing then?
Same thing, yes.
Okay, now about for the island, what do I do that? Just put like an island and put like a little like a thing on top of it for like a building?
Or something. A bubble, anything like that. And if it's going to fade on or fade off or move on or move off, then make it a motion tween.
Okay,
If it's
do I
just
put any?
placed on the artboard, then you make it a graphic.
Okay, so when I do the island, put like in blue, and then put like a green, like an island, and then put like a little building on top of it, and put above it Cafe Del Mar.
Yes, like that.
Okay, now after I do that, I put it into that and convert it into the same thing, and then that'd be on to the library also. So everything would be all together, all along the library.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So if it's a graphic, go for a graphic, but if it's in motion, go with a movie clip, right?
Right.
Okay. I think I got it basically down.
Okay.
Okay, I need some help desperately. I talked to you about it yesterday. I've been trying to reach you all day. Maybe I have the wrong thing to try to reach you, but I have no success. I'm really frustrated right now, a little shaky, because this is kind of getting to me. I had already explained to you what happened in my family, so I'm trying to. I'm reaching out as I'm supposed to, but I'm not coming up with success.
You were just here last night and I helped you.
And I listen to me. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I just want to be able to get this work done. I'm not an idiot. I'm actually a very bright person, and I learn pretty easily. But under the circumstances which I explained, I'm just asking you to have a little patience with me, if you
Okay.
would.
What questions do you have? We'll go over it again. I thought last night you finished your week 1. So what are you working on now?
No, I didn't finish it because I still have a 0 for the assessment, and that's what I did not complete. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here without closing out the meeting.
Okay, well, share your screen. I thought we finished your assessment last night.
No, no. Okay.
Misty,
This is, oh, Jesus.
I was wondering, how long does it take for your video come up on the screen?
When I upload it, after we're finished here in probably an hour and a half. It really depends on Zoom, guys. It sometimes it takes forever for it to compress our video so that I can post it.
It'll be there by 6 o'clock tonight, right?
Yeah. So you're looking at an hour and a half.
Okay, because I'm not going to come back until about 6 o'clock. So,
Okay. Yeah, by then.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Stella Teresa, open what we worked on yesterday.
About, a white television producer trying to make a television show about a real gangster rap. So we went to
I don't even remember, but here's my frog.
kind of dangerous. I don't know if there's a real
And
Okay, this is what we worked on yesterday. Where's the animate that I helped you animate yesterday?
we're hired to make this reality show.
I have no idea. By this point, I probably have gotten rid of it. But I would like for my frog to fly.
We did the assessment yesterday, Stella Teresa.
We did what?
You had an animate. We did your assessment. All you had left to do when you left me was publish it and zip it and turn it in. This is Illustrator. You need to be an animate.
Yeah, but the one is.
You had, I think it was a butterfly.
No, I haven't had a butterfly. It's there it is.
Misty,
Uh-huh.
that was me. That's Melissa that you helped with the butterfly.
About 50
Yeah.
of you, butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right, I know, right? The only reason,
I did not have a butterfly. I can tell you that now.
yeah.
Didn't have one. But I would like to use this frog with these wings because that's what I want to do.
Wow.
Okay,
All
then
right.
you're just going to make an HTML Canvas document.
Huh?
You're going to make an HTML5 Canvas document. So go to File, go to New.
In here?
Yes. And your instructions told you your screen needed to be a certain size.
I did write that down. It is supposed to be 500 by 350.
Yes.
One of y'all come and mute my TV, please. I don't want to hear none of that that's going on.
350.
350. And it's supposed to be 24.
Yes. So just hit OK. Okay, so now you're going to go back to Illustrator. And click on your frog. Are your wings separate?
Yes.
They're two different pieces. Your wings are two different pieces.
Right. And so I
Are you going to copy it?
well, it'll copy as one because I grouped it.
Go to Edit, go to Copy.
Mm.
And then you're going to go back to Animate. And you're going to go to Edit and go to Paste.
Does it matter center or
It
in
doesn't
plane?
matter at this point. It doesn't matter. And uncheck Maintain Layers. And hit OK. Now grab your transform tool over there underneath your white arrow. Now, the transform tool, the icon underneath your white arrow.
Here?
Your transform tool. Now scale your frog and make him smaller because he's way too big.
Okay, so free transform.
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure you get a corner, not a line. There you go. Even smaller because you have to put him into a background.
Okay.
And he has to fly around your screen, so you're going to want him to be smaller.
How about that?
Like that. And then you're going to go to Modify and Convert to Symbol.
Modify. Convert to symbol.
And then you can call it Frog.
How do I get rid of this right here?
I don't see anything right there. Most likely that's your menu bar from sharing. Just grab it and drag it out of the way.
Okay, and then I'm going to call him Frog. Okay.
And then hit OK. Now in your libraries panel, you're going to go over and you see the movie clip for your frog.
I'm confused. Where am I supposed to be?
Your library, right over there on the right hand side.
Somewhere over here?
Yeah, now you see that little symbol next to the word frog in your library? See that little movie clip symbol? It looks like a little gear icon. Up at the top, right next to the word
Right,
frog.
right here, right here. You want me to click
Double
it?
click. Double click it. Okay, now we need to go over to your frog and right click. And do distribute to layers. That didn't really distribute anything. Go to modify and go to break apart. That did. Now right click on it and do distribute to layers. It gave us 2 layers, so let's see what they are. Go over to layer 3 in your layers panel down there and turn off layer 3. Click the little dot, the first little dot there. No, the
This-
first layer there. Oh, no, one over. Right there. There's your wings. Go up to deselect everything and select your wings.
Okay.
On your artboard, click in white space beside your wing.
I'm
Yeah, just click there, right there. Click.
here.
No, below that box. Right there, click. Now click on one of your wings. Okay, go to modify and go to break apart because that's actually one wing. Go to break apart. Deselect again, click in white space. Not on your wing, in white space, off beside it somewhere. Click. Select one wing. It's still one object. Go to modify, go to break apart again. Well, that'll turn it into 2. Okay, deselect it.
What, undo?
No, just
Or
deselect
just,
it. Now you're going to draw a square around your entire right wing. Oh, you're going to have to grab your lasso. So there you go. All the way over. There you go. Go to edit, go to cut.
Why do you do that?
Now make a new layer.
okay. Where'd the wing go? Oh,
Right. Make a new layer in your layers panel. Okay, now go to edit and go to paste in place.
okay. And do the same thing for the left?
No, you've got the right one. It's already done. You've already separated them. So now you need to go to modify and convert to symbol.
Okay, modify, convert to symbol.
And call it right wing.
And say okay?
Hit OK. And then click on the left wing and do the same thing. Modify, convert to symbol, left wing. Okay, so now you can turn your frog layer back on so you can see your little frog.
How do I do that?
Layer 3, just turn it back on. Click that X on layer 3. There's your frog. Okay, so now we need to go out to frame 24. I'm clicking frame 24. You have to click, see those little boxes or frames? Right click and do insert frame.
Right click.
Insert frame. Now you need to do that to each one of your layers.
Okay, kind of. Where the frog go?
You've got layer 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. You need to do that to each layer. Click in frame 24, right click, insert frame.
Okay, I was talking, what happened to the frog?
It's because you don't have enough layers, so you can't see it yet. That's why you have to insert frames.
Okay, so where am I going now? Am I inserting another frame?
Not a new layer. You have to insert frame. You're going to do exactly what you just did to every single layer you have over on the left side. So go out to layer 2 and go out to frame 24, right click and insert frame.
You said go over.
Okay, you've got the left wing. You need to do layer 5. Okay, so now we need to make motion twins. So you're going to go up to your right wing and right click and do create motion twin. At the very top, create motion twin. Okay, so now you're going to click in frame 12 of layer 5. Frame 12. Of layer 5. Okay, so now we need to make your wing look like it's flapping. You see on your right wing, you see that little white circle in the middle of your transform box?
Here?
You're going to drag that all the way over to the left side, that little black box on the left side. All the way onto its body. There you go, like that. No, just to that black box, just to the edge of your transform box, right there. Okay, so now we need to scale his wing so it makes it look like it's actually flapping. So on the right hand edge of your transform box, you're going to scale it to the left. That's the left. Go to the right edge, the right side. Right there.
Okay.
Scale it to the left. To the left. Right there. And then go out to frame 24. Go out one more frame. You need to be in your last frame. You're not quite there yet.
Okay, you said 24, right?
Yes, but your last frame, it looks like you made it in frame 25. So click on frame 25. Now then, go down and turn on your onion skinning. Your onion skinning, you see that bottom menu? There you go, right there.
Okay.
Click it, turn it on. Now you see that little blue dot on your ruler bar up there on your timeline? Grab that blue dot and drag it back to frame 1. All the way back. There you go. Now, scale that wing out to its original position. You see that very last line over there? It shows you where the wing should go. So you're going to go back up to your frog, go back up to your transform box, and scale it back out so it matches that onion skinning.
Right here.
Yes, right there. So drag it to the right until it matches the onion skinning. Keep going. Right in there, it looks like. So now you're going to do the left side. Click on the left side. Right click, create motion tween. Grab that little white circle and drag it over to his body where it's supposed to be, right there. And then go to the left side and scale it to the right. Right. Oh, too much. Come back just a little right there. No. Go back a little bit more, a little bit more. Oh, wait a second. Go to edit, go to undo. I'm sorry, you're not in frame 12.
So undo. Okay, now what am I doing? Hello.
And you need to be in frame 12. Go to edit, go to undo. You've got a keyframe there to be there. So go to edit, go to undo. There you go. Now go to frame 12. Okay, looks like last time you clicked in frame 13. It needs to be even. You see that little black dot in layer 5? Right there. Now grab your wing and scale it to the right. So it looks like it flaps backwards. You didn't move your little white dot. Edit, undo.
Yeah.
Click on your wing and make sure you move that white dot where it's supposed to be. Now then, scale your wing. Again. Too much. Come back out just a little. Just a tad. No, just drag it back out. Just a little bit. Right there. Now go out to frame 25 and scale it back to its original position.
Which is
you need to be in frame 25. And then you need to scale your wing back out to its original position. So go up to your transform box and scale it back to the left.
okay. Where's the transform box again?
It's the black box around your wing.
And I'm taking it where?
To the left. No, to the left. You're making it back to, taking it back to its original position. That's way too far. It was not expanded that far. Right there. Now, your wings will flap. So now you need to go back to scene 1 and you need to make your frog move on a path so it looks like it's flying. And then you need to create a background.
Okay, now